to enduring a toxic relationship with a narcissist? Can this negative situation serve any positive purpose at all? How can we use what we've learned in a positive way that serves us? I believe there is a gift for us in every situation, and our time is never wasted. I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you understand the term narcissism. Now, I'm not talking about narcissistic traits of someone who's self-absorbed, who's always in the spotlight, but rather I'm talking about the full-blown narcissistic personality disorder, also known as NPD, which frequently goes undiagnosed and unrecognized in our society. It is a personality disorder that is extremely destructive, and a person with this disorder has no remorse, no empathy. This relationship is based on control, manipulation, and emotional abuse. And this relationship appears rosy to the outside world. But behind closed doors, it's a completely different story. The key to dealing with a narcissist is to be true to ourselves. For those of us who have lived with a narcissist, we had to be false to ourselves and to others. We chose to lie, to pretend, to detract from how dysfunctional it actually was. We participated in self-betrayal. Those of us who were raised by a narcissist learned early on in our childhood that it wasn't safe to feel our emotions, let alone express our emotions, or even think our own thoughts. We never really got a chance to develop a strong sense of self. We lived with a mistrust of our own inner tuition. The narcissist was so controlling and dominant in our lives that we constantly felt worthless and somehow inadequate. We were robbed of vital opportunities to develop our own unique gifts and talents. We chose to put aside our dreams, to spend excessive amounts of time and energy on validating the narcissist's importance and their view of reality. Looking back, we can recognise how uncomfortable it was to activate our own individuality, to be assertive or to show any initiative, because the narcissist was always right, we were always wrong, and after all, they knew everything. So we had no choice but to retreat into a resentful silence. Ultimately, however, we come to a fork in the road. And we had to ask ourselves, how far down are we willing to travel with this person in our life? And how long are we willing to be a victim? One day, we just look at ourselves in the mirror and feel the incongruency. We hear these questions really loudly. Is this what life's about? Is this truly what love is? Surely we didn't come here to suffer, endure, shame, humiliation, a feeling of worthlessness. Relationships with a narcissist always end badly, so be prepared for the inevitable. They will turn others against you. They will try and ruin your reputation, continue to deny everything, and of course blame you. And it can temporarily seem like a really lonely road to stand in our truth. But we sometimes must lose the presence of them in our lives and draw a line in the sand so we can truly live our own life. And this is the great part, because this is a part we get to attract our own family, our own tribe, not based on the limiting belief that our family is only our bloodline, but rather based on a frequency of familiarity. We get to choose to spend our life with loving people who encourage us, who believe in us, who treasure our company, who value our gift of sensitivity, who are not threatened by our brilliance. After enduring years of emotional abandonment, chronic deception, mind games, degradation, and psychological coldness, we've experienced a shattering contrast. We now know exactly what we don't want and what we won't allow anymore. And this takes tremendous courage and trust in our inner guidance. This is where our point of attraction changes. This is where energetically we take back the remote of our life and change the channel. The gift of the narcissist is an invitation for us to become more authentic, to become more discerning, and to truly know ourselves. Another empowering but very challenging question to ask that can help us get out of the blame game is, what part of me is this person mirroring? What are they showing me about my strengths, my vulnerabilities, my weaknesses? What are they mirroring about my beliefs? Beliefs about my self-worth, about what I deserve, We need to stand firm, remain psychologically grounded throughout any of their dramatic emotional explosions. And these are all wonderful opportunities to practice and honour the truth of what we see with our internal eyes. This is how we learn not to be deceived by all the glitz and glamour, and this is how we learn to take off our rose-coloured glasses. Because interactions with a narcissist depend on an emotional reaction from us, for us to endure the psychological roller coaster ride psychologically intact, we have to develop mindfulness. And mindfulness is an excellent skill for everybody, but particularly those of us still dealing with a narcissist, because mindfulness becomes a necessary survival skill. Another gift is emotional acuity. How do you feel in the presence of someone who disregards you, dismisses you, who doesn't treasure and respect you? And in contrast, how do you feel in the presence of someone who's kind and loving and compassionate? The narcissist drives us to seek truth, to peel off the masks we chose to wear for them, where we were in denial and what that denial cost us. After years of our kind-heartedness and empathy being manipulated, we learn the hard way that loving ourselves comes first. We learn to appreciate the value of boundaries, and we end up with a very acute sense of knowing which relationships are empowering to us and which ones we need to end immediately. Another gift that I choose to see after years of submission is that my empathy was never a weakness. In fact, it was my greatest asset. And initially, after ending a relationship with a narcissist, we go through a stage of hypersensitivity where we become extremely alert to signs of any dysfunctional behaviour in others. But then after passing through this stage of healing, we realise the world isn't a big bad place. We don't have to expect the worst, live in constant fear and apprehension, despite all the stories they programmed into us, that we are incapable, that we're unworthy, that we're unlovable, that there's something wrong with us. We actually realise that our life is significantly better without them, that there are loving, generous, kind people in the world, and that the world is a safe place. These were all lies, meant to make us feel helpless and dependent. We are stronger, smarter, and more loved than what they allowed us to believe. We have everything that we need because the universe totally supports us, and they always feared the day that we would realise this. So in closing, the narcissist in my life sped up my spiritual evolution and fine-tuned my awareness. I have a choice to either be grateful for the experience and take from it what empowers me, or I can continue seeing myself as a victim. But I want to make an important point here, and that is that validating our experience is an essential part to our healing because our reality was always disregarded, dismissed, and we felt like we didn't exist. But please also know that spending too much time in analysing this whole situation energetically brings us back there, and it deflects our focus from focusing on our well-being, on discovering our preferences. So just be conscious of what you're feeling and don't spend too much time staying there. Choose to direct all your energy in visualising the life that you now want, the life that you now know you deserve. Remember, we live in an inclusion-based universe, which means you magnify and attract whatever you put your attention to. Take away your attention and you diminish the power of the situation. No matter where we are in our journey, we always have a choice. And when we realise this, it becomes a moment of connecting to a tremendous sense of power, which was always ours. And we just experience a contrast. And there is great value in contrast. If we have been ill, we long for health. If we were silenced, we value our ability to speak up. These are all positive perspectives on negative situations. And it is my firm belief that this is what we came here to do, to transmute darkness into light.